I'd like to bring the Board of Health meeting to order for September 27th, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. A roll call of officers.
Gavin Byers.
James LaQuia. Chris will not be present today. Additions and deletions not anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Anything?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either. Okay, we'll start off with 1.3407 Main Street camper decision. You think we can handle this?
I think so.
All right, well, I'm gonna take the floor initially. This will be directed to you, Rick. And I've had a camper for a long time. Chris has a camper, and there are many campers throughout the state, period. And back in the day of the campers, when we first got all our chemicals, it was very toxic, harmful, designed to eat up bacteria and kill everything in the septic systems in these RVs. Today our chemicals are a lot less aggressive, and all these campgrounds that have septic systems are maintaining their own systems with all these people putting the chemicals in them. The law says it's 110 gallons a day per bedroom for Title V, and my RV has a 90-gallon water tank, and I drive it to Florida, not stopping any place but rest areas, and I make it to Florida on 90 gallons of water, and I got about a half a gray and a half a black. So you don't use a lot of water in a motorhome. And when you're hooked up in a campground where you're showering every day and it's a permanent scenario, yeah, you use a little bit more. I'm going to just suggest to the board that we send a letter to people we know that have these RVs that are temporarily connected to a septic system, and tell them they have to proceed with caution and use them at their own will, because it's not regulated through this state to be used for an RV. But we can't take, like the gentleman over there that was here last week, he's been doing it for 20 years. We can't tell these people they just can't do it anymore. I don't think there's any grounds behind it.
There are.
You're out, but you can't control it, because these people are here. We got some more up off of Mason Road. There's 3 of them up there in the woods we're unaware of, but I know they're there now because of a phone call.
Okay.
And some of these you may be aware of, some of these you may not be aware of.
Nope, I mean, the only reason why I saw that one at 407 was because I was doing an inspection next door and it was pretty hard to miss.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm driving down the road looking for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing we've ever done before. Yeah, but Title V is pretty clear as far as your discharges
Yeah, it
beyond
is. But
capacity.
everybody's going to tend to do what they've got to do, and we've all done things that haven't been by the book 100%. And it's just my opinion right now. If you want to carry this to the next meeting and discuss it further, that's up to you, Gavin. But I think just a little letter of warning to these people who are aware of that it's not supposed to be used that way. Really consider what you're doing and how much water you're putting down through the camper if you are intending to use it to live in temporarily.
Yeah, I don't think we can let them, I don't think that we can say that at all that it's okay that they're doing it. I think we need to be pretty steadfast with, you know, how we feel and what the law is on what they can and can't do. I don't think we want to get into the area of Title V law says this, however we know everybody does it, and it's not bad, because one, we don't have data that says that it's okay. We have, you know, experiences, and 2, Title V is pretty straightforward with what's required. So there's a difference between what we do retroactively and what we do beforehand, and that's a discussion for later. But I think, personally, I think if it's illegal, it's illegal. If the Title V reg says you can't do it, we can't tiptoe around that type of stuff. I mean, that's the predominant use of the Board of Health.
So, yeah, I think what maybe you're trying to say, Jim, is there's a rule and we know it exists and we can make people aware of it, but how far you take enforcement is really up to you, and you don't have to you enforce it all the way. You can just make them aware of the regulation and kind of decide as a board to leave it at that unless it becomes a bigger issue where you feel like enforcement's necessary.
That's essentially what I had up in the back of my sleeve here, is to give them some education, send them a letter. This is what it says in Title V. We really don't want you doing it, but at this point, we can't stop you from doing it. We'd have to go to court, get a court order, the whole nine yards.
Right.
And if nobody said anything that's given them a problem as yet, if there's no problems created, why create one? So maybe you'll just send these people a letter, the ones we're aware of, so they have a heads up. And put them on guard to the fact that we know that they've got these things connected and they should be disconnected, or really put some thought into it in some fashion.
Yeah.
Is there a reg that you can pull out of your?
Yeah, so I had written a letter with Gavin, and if you wanted to add more to it, we certainly could. I didn't cite specifically from Title V, but we can. It's there is a violation section, and that's one of them. Is basically alteration or adding flow to the system that isn't approved by the Board of Health, which is kind of what that would fall under. So we can add a little bit more meat to it for educational purposes, and you can kind of leave it at that, and if the person comes in, then you can have a discussion with them, similar to that gentleman, but really it's up to you how far you want to bring the enforcement portion of it.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me and for the people we're dealing with also, but I think that the letter of enforcement will be the first thing, so they get a heads up on it, they know we're aware of it, and proceed and govern yourself accordingly.
Yep, so the only ones that I knew of, there was the one on 407 Main. There was one other one that Carla had given me on
West Elm?
Yes, West Elm.
I thought we sent out 4 letters.
So we didn't end up sending the one to the other Main Street property because it didn't seem like anybody had used that for a long time.
Okay.
So the only one that's gone out is the 407 Main and the West Elm Street one that you had given me.
Okay.
So if there's any other ones, you'll let me know, but those are the only 2 that have gone out to date.
Yeah.
So you've already put a letter together, Rick?
Rick already sent the letter to 407, so
Okay.
that's why that gentleman came in.
Yeah.
So, and, I kind of feel like that, so I think the message was sent pretty loud and clear that we weren't happy about that happening. I kind of wish we were able to talk to him a little bit more before he left, because he was obviously upset. Which, that's what I was worried about initially, was having somebody upset and being on the defensive right away, when I feel like you, in the fact that I want to educate them and not corner them. I want them to make the right decision for themselves, not because we're telling them what's right and what's wrong. And I feel like that conversation didn't really go that way. But the letter was effective, and it made it very clear how serious of a problem it could be. So there's like this little balancing act that kind of worked in one sense, but the conversation didn't go the way I had hoped it would go on. But I'd like to follow up with him as well, because to see what his idea is at this point on what he should be doing. So I know Carla said that he had come in afterwards and apologized.
He gave me a personal phone call.
Okay.
And inquired what was going on, and I explained to him what was up my sleeve as far as what I was gonna propose to the board today. And I said, I'm not gonna even ask you to come to the meeting, let's just get this ironed out, we'll see what we're going to do to address it, and make sure people are aware of it, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
So he was very calm and very thankful of my calling him back and expressing that to him.
Good.
And now here we are discussing it exactly as I told him I wanted to do, even if Chris was here. And I think it's a matter of putting a letter together, sending it to these folks, giving them a heads up. And we've done what we have to do as far as our responsibilities, because they're gonna continue to do it no matter what we do. We already know that very clearly. You get a speeding ticket today, you go down the road tomorrow, you get another speeding ticket. That's the way the game is played. So if you're in favor of that, that's what we'll do. And give it a week or so, get the letters out into the mail once they've been drafted and we're happy with them, and go from there. We don't need a motion on it, I don't believe.
No,
No.
yeah, you don't need a motion, so, you know, if there's any other addresses that you want added, if you wanna just give
The
them.
ones that could be obvious that we're aware of,
Sure.
You said that there were 3 on Mason Road?
they are, I know that that's another chapter for the next meeting though, because we got some other rodent problems in Townsend right now. So, I had another phone call and I've got a letter coming of, I said it's gotta be in writing, we can't enforce it. So, there's supposed to be a letter on the way, that's gonna open up these other 3 campers. So let's take it a day at a time as far as that's concerned, because that's not on the schedule today anyway, so.
Alright, yeah, so yeah, we've got the letter, so, yeah, those 2 went out, and if any other come up, then we'll deal with it the same way.
Okay, we're all happy with that? Okay,
Yes.
very good, I'm happy with that also. That'll give Chris
And the only other thing is, Carla, how do you feel about, because people, you know, if this guy comes again and talks to you, what do you think? Should we give you some direction on what to do with people if they come in on this topic with this letter? If they get a letter?
They should be telling Carl they wanna make an appointment to be on a meeting.
Okay,
Cause we're gonna see him in front of the board and discuss it with them as a board,
all right,
alright?
cool.
Okay,
And you're good with that? All right,
sure,
cool.
okay.
Okay, that's all set, we're all satisfied? Alright, we'll go on to our favorite subject, COVID-19.
Great. So.
You do have in your package the numbers?
Yeah, so I did do a report, so this is the one that we had talked about last meeting, and these have been posted on the web weekly. The numbers come out on Thursdays each week, so this is from Thursday last week, the 23rd. And, you know, the case count right now was 24 cases over the previous 2-week period, which was a increase of 3 from the previous week, from the data released 9/16. The vaccination numbers, there was a pretty negligible increase, so if you look at the total, the only change was a 1% increase in fully vaccinated individuals. The only other changes were really with the 12 to 15 year age group. So it was really a pretty small increase in vaccination numbers week to week. So as far as numbers where you're at vaccination wise, it's total population 64% with at least 1 dose per capita and 60% fully vaccinated per capita. And if you compare those numbers to the county and state levels, the 1 dose, you guys were at 64%, Middlesex County's at 75%, and Massachusetts is at 73%. And then for fully vaccinated, Townsend is at 60%, Middlesex County's at 69%, and Massachusetts is at 68%. So still lagging behind a little bit. We had talked about, I can't remember whether it was last meeting or the meeting prior, about trying to get the school to possibly host a mobile vaccine clinic. So I've been communicating with the Department of Public Health about the possibility of doing that, and they've gotten back to me and said that we can. I also talked to Brad Morgan, the superintendent at the schools, and he said that he's open to the idea. So right now, we're just trying to kind of work out details as far as what it might look like. So the plan that we'd really like to do is to go, we get the bus for 8 hours, and so it would be 2 hours in Ashby at the elementary school. It'd be 2 hours in Townsend at North Middlesex, and it would be 2 hours in Pepperell at one of their schools. And then the rest of the time would be spent traveling and setting up. So that's our ideal plan. If that's something that doesn't work with Mass DPH and the vaccine bus, then the plan's gonna be to just set it up at North Middlesex at the high school and run the entire clinic out of their parking lot. So something's gonna be happening. We really just have to pick a date and, you know, see what Mass DPH is comfortable with doing, but that's kind of our plan right now. And we'd like to kind of do it when it's gonna be most accessible, so possibly around some sort of, you know, an athletic event or something at the high school, to try and get as many people through there as we might be able to.
That's a good idea.
So we'll see what happens, but it's in the works.
With everybody's schedules the way they everybody's schedules conflict time-wise for what they gotta do on a daily basis. You don't think you're better off just to set that up at the central site for the day, so people can get there at their convenience?
So the issue is that all the towns want it, and North Middlesex is kind of the sponsoring, and it's supposed to be centered around the schools. And so, you know, that was the idea, was that we could, you know, serve all of the 3 communities within the North Middlesex district by doing that. But if it's just not gonna work out, or it doesn't seem to make sense logistically from their standpoint, having done quite a few of these, then that's the plan, is to just set it up in North Middlesex and Townsend and do it there. So, you know, there's still some planning to do, and we're gonna make sure that it's out far enough to pretty heavily advertise and advertise through the school to the students and parents. So we'll have time to hopefully get word out before it happens. So it's in the works, and hopefully it'll be happening, you know, within the next month or so.
Good.
The other thing is that there was information that was released, I think it was approved on Friday, and it was released over the weekend by the state regarding the Pfizer COVID-19 booster. So it was very specific. This is for people that received the Pfizer vaccine only, so if you received the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson, you aren't eligible right now for a booster. It's only the Pfizer vaccine. And that's only gonna be for people over 65 years of age, and individuals 18 to 64 years of age at risk for severe COVID-19 due to underlying medical conditions, and individuals 18 to 64 years of age who are at increased risk of COVID-19 because of occupational or institutional settings, who have previously received the Pfizer vaccine. And so if there's a question as to whether people should be getting this booster shot, if they don't just automatically fall into that 65 plus category, the recommendation is to go and speak to your primary care physician about the need for it. And then the state had announced that there's gonna be 460 retail pharmacies in the state that are gonna be offering that booster shot through the same VaxFinder site that they had previously.
I sent that email to you as well, you have it, and it's also on the web already.
Anything else, Rick?
I think that's it. So, you know, the numbers are continuing to rise. The vaccination numbers are still lagging a little bit. So I think it's just, you know, something that you'll need to keep an eye on, you know, week to week, and see if you think that there's any, you know, reason to take action locally. So, you know, just to make it clear, I'm never going to be the one to kind of push you guys to put anything in place. Happy to provide you with any data that you want, or any information as far as what the rest of the district is. But ultimately, it's your decision to make.
Cool. Trying to get out of the CD. You do a good job, Rick, thank you.
I've had those disclosures from you before.
Yeah. So yeah, just want to make sure that you know, it's kind of, you know, it's not going to come from me if you wanted to do something. It's really got to be your decision.
Now that paper trail again.
Happy to provide you any information that you need to back that up.
Okay, if we're down with that, there's no update on masks again? The state's not saying anything as far as?
No, so you know, they haven't hinted or said that they're going to be doing anything at the state level. So you know, right now it's local, and at least last I knew, the only towns within our district that have made that decision are Littleton and Lancaster, and some towns have instituted masking requirements for certain town buildings, but not gone the route of having a mask mandate in town. Some have decided to issue a strong advisory to wear masks in public places, but not a requirement. So you know, that's kind of what we're seeing, at least.
Are you still happy with the way we're doing this here? Do you want to have a different type of input?
No, I'm pretty happy.
Okay, so the higher authorities say something, we're going to stay cool and calm.
I think so.
All right, I'm in favor of that myself, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's the end of COVID, if I'm not mistaken. No other things to discuss there. All right, so now we're gonna go to 1.5, 109 Lunenburg Road.
So this is just a request to extend an existing permit.
Letter here, if you wanted to see it, I didn't copy it.
So, let me just grab my file. So if you guys remember, this is Susan Angel's property. She's one of the people that we had sent a letter to, and we've sent several over the years to replace her system because it's been failing and not replaced within the 2-year period that Townsend allows. She had applied for an extension in August, which you guys approved, and at the time you made the decision, you had decided that you were gonna give her until October 15th to complete the work. And we had got a letter from the contractor and licensed installer she had hired that essentially said that he was not gonna be able to get out to do the work within that time frame and was requesting a 45-day extension on that permit to November 30th of 2021. This work scheduled to begin in late October.
How are you with that?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm not surprised, just seeing how busy these guys are and how many jobs they've got, and the weather that we've had really hasn't helped much. So, she's moving forward. She's hired a contractor and she's under contract. So, the end goal is really just to get that system replaced and make it safe and sanitary. And it seems like she's headed in that direction. Just needs an extra bit of time. So.
Yeah, with the way things are out there, I saw who's gonna be doing the job, and he's a very reputable person, so. What's your gut feeling on that one? Give the extension?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if it was just her saying, oh, they said they need more time, that'd be one thing, but, I mean, that's the letters from them, so.
Yeah,
I like
give me
the
a motion
extension.
for an extension on that.
I'll make a motion for an extension on the septic, permit for 109 Lunenburg Road.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's gonna be until that November 30th?
30th.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 1.6, 125 Lunenburg Road septic permit extension.
Alright. And this is another one, I believe it's new construction,
Yes.
that have received a permit in 2018, and it's set to expire, and they're requesting the 1-year extension that's allowed under Title V to hopefully get the project started.
Where's 125 Lunenburg Road?
So it's a vacant lot right now, but there was one newer house. It's on the right side, and it's pretty, if you're heading from Main Street towards Lunenburg, you would go by Bayberry Hill Road, and it would just be just after that on your right.
Okay, yeah. All right, any problems, Kevin? No? Just sign it?
Yep.
All right. 1.7 stable regulations update. Anything going any further with that as yet?
So I haven't really had a chance to review it. I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
else had. But the one thing that I did want to mention is I don't know who's been on the email chain that's been going around. I think it might only be Chris, about Eric Chartrand, who's the building inspector, was requesting a change to one of their bylaws that had to do with the keeping of fowl and chickens in the yard. And Ross Perry had brought up a concern about changing the, or revising the bylaw because Townsend's a right to farm community. So I knew there were issues with boards and committees adopting animal regulations when there was an agricultural commission. I had never heard that there were issues if a town was just a right to farm community. But I guess before much more time is spent on these regs, it might make sense to check in with town council and be sure that we have the ability to do that where Townsend is a right to farm community. Or maybe we could talk to Ross and get his thoughts on why that bylaw would have been hard to change, because Townsend's a right to farm community. Because I know we had checked and there isn't an agricultural commission in town that I'm aware of. But let's just make sure that we can write these regs before we spend significant time on it.
I think that's a great idea because you saw the letter about the response from Chas, did you see it?
I did, yeah, so, yeah, let's just make sure that we're okay moving forward with it,
Okay,
and then, keep going, assuming that we can.
okay, I'm gonna put in, actually, I don't know if I can get on the agenda for town council's meeting hours. They're usually the last Tuesday of the month, isn't that right? Rick?
I'm not too sure, I don't know what their schedule is.
Rather than to do a legal request, what I'd like to do is just get on his schedule where he's in the office from 4 to 7 and just pick his brain there.
Sure.
Town council, if that pleases the board? Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
You also with that now? No, 1.8, 96 Fitchburg Road, guess what? There's a mini excavator up here this morning.
I'm doing testing out there today for 2 new lots, and
Two new
I did
lots?
check, and it transferred title to Al Mariano last week. So the bank doesn't own it anymore, there is a new owner. I'm going out to do testing, and I believe it's for replacement of the existing house and 1 new lot.
Okay,
And so I don't know what the plans are for the existing house, whether they're gonna try to rehab it or whether it's a tear down or what their plans are, but I know it's 2 lots that we're looking
okay. And the septic will be fixed.
What kind of environment is going on over there, do you expect?
at. As far as what we're gonna see for
Tenants.
testing, or, I
Tenants.
don't know, I'll probably have a better idea after
Yeah.
today. So this has been testing that we've pushed off a couple of times as they've kinda like worked through the transfer of title process. But I know the other woman who thought she had an offer on the property had actually filed in court to evict her. And so I don't know if he was able to pick up that case or whether he has to start new or what his plans are, but I will, try to find out some information and what's going on over there.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You're gonna find it tricky over there today, cause it's all electric.
That's what I told the engineer, so they're at least prepared for that, and, I don't know where they plan to dig, but I know that there's ledge over there.
Yeah, it's a rough site.
Yeah.
Real rough site. Gonna have to get the Martians over here and stop blasting, and make a big hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Alright, enough of 96 then, yeah? Alright, 1.9, other permits for reviews. Anything else?
That was it.
No? Okay. That was easy. Invoices, Carla.
Okay, Rick, do you have anything else?
I
Oh,
don't.
I'm sorry, Rick.
That's okay.
So yeah, I'll take off. I'm gonna leave some stuff on your desk for you though.
One last thing,
Sure.
I have a meeting at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, the 29th, to go over online permitting. I stressed how much Neshoba was not in favor of that, and I got a little bit of pushback saying it really doesn't matter that Neshoba works for the
Sure.
town, and,
So, with the building permits or our permits or
or they want
all,
all of them.
Okay.
They want everything online.
it makes it pretty tough because all of ours are done through our office. So if they have some sort of a proposal, then I'd be happy to look it over and see how it might work.
Do you wanna go to the meeting? Do you have time
I
on?
don't.
Okay, it's
Um,
okay,
you
I'm
said
gonna
it's
be there.
Wednesday.
I'm gonna be there. I think either way, the Board of Health is gonna get merged in with that, and I don't have an issue with it, it's a good learning curve. So the tobacco permits, the hauler permits, anything that doesn't fall into Rick's category would be online. And I'll be meeting with the department heads who have issues with permitting at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, the 29th.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess if you can collect as much information so I can take a peek over it and see whether it's for, submittals or what, cause I can't review PDFs if that's their plan. I can't print them, I can't scale them, so unless they wanna give me a plotter, can't. But if you can collect all the information, I'll look it over and see how it might work.
Excellent, okay, thank you.
Alright,
Thanks, Rick.
alright, thanks.
Have a good day.
Good. Okay, the invoices we're going to go to.
Bulb and battery removal, $648. We are 99% cleaned out with the big container. The new bulb container is there, the signs are on. It looks beautiful, the buckets are in. The place is really starting to be cleaned up. While you're looking at that, I'm gonna just go into our site plan update and let you know that one of the book bins I was able to clean out, but the other book bin is too moldy. The man, when he opened it, he said, "You're gonna need a mask."
Yeah.
And then the other one, he showed me the shavings, and he said, "Well, that's where, you know, the rats are living." And I looked in there, and the little beady eyes were looking right back at me. So I talked to Glenn, and I think he's gonna help us out with it. I think that he will. But one of the book bins is empty, and we will be disposing of that. I'm hoping that I can get the Salvation Army bin, and then Carl will be able to give us some money for the metal. And then a new book bin will be coming, and I'm going to move the TEO clothing bin, the textile bin, over next to where the garage door, the entrance that the employees use into the building. It will be right there, because they can come in and it's asphalt and it's paved, and they can just pick them up and they can switch them out. So we'll always have, but and it will also be better because the employees will be right there when they pull up, so they'll see what's going into those bins.
Okay.
And we'll make sure that people aren't disposing of other things in those bins that they shouldn't be.
That'll work.
And my idea is to get that whole area clean, and then possibly get somebody to get the other containers that are way in the back, that nobody had any interest back in 2008. Maybe we could find some interest in doing that. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so that's one invoice. $195 for the post and delivery for the signs. I was a little surprised over that, but it is what it is, and the signs are great. People have already commented. I love the way that
pictures are
you
nice.
can roll them, so if the bins come back and they're not specifically lined up the way that we have them right now, we can roll those. I did put the bulb and battery sign and the swap shop sign, we nailed those to the buildings because they're permanent. We don't need to have a sign. So we have 2 extra posts at some point when we're looking at the upgrades and what's going on with the center. We can decide what additional signage would need those posts. And the last thing that I have is just some mileage for myself for September. It's been a busy month. You also have in your packages the meeting minutes of August 23rd. So it's a 1-page document, 2-sided. We'll at least get us somewhat caught up. I haven't done the minutes for the 13th yet. I'm hoping to get to that this week.
You just initial here or?
Sure.
Okay, you just gave us the recycling center update already, right?
I did, and if you don't know yet, the selectmen did approve the Hoister position for $17.20. People are still laughing at me. They said you're gonna need to pay someone $25 an hour to get them down there.
Of course.
But let's hope.
Yeah. We can wait and see, you know, if we can fill it, which we know we're not gonna be able to, and then say, we can't fill it at that price. We need to pay somebody a little more than that.
I have gone to the senior center specifically, hoping that maybe someone who's retired and still in good shape physically might wanna spend some time. I also asked for the guidance center at the high school to post it there, and it went out to pretty much anyone that I thought might know of someone. It's on Facebook Marketplace, and it's posted outside and internally on the website as well. Chris was adamant that he didn't want to spend any money on advertising at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see, Facebook Marketplace, I've only had one person review it. It's been up for
Yeah.
days yet, so.
We could always try, reaching out to like Neshoba Tech or Monty Tech,
That's a good idea, you know that?
because there's a lot of kids that are pretty handy.
Yep.
That are looking
I
for
think that's a
gigs.
great idea.
I know several landscaper high school employees that, may be,
Mhm.
they may be able to just get their hoisting license,
Okay,
because they work on equipment anyway.
great idea.
They just might not have their full license yet, so they just get the training and.
Great.
It's a hard position to fill for that kind of money, for sure. All right, we all set with that? Future agenda items, 1.13.
We're gonna work on those hopefully next month, the septic regulations. The health grant that Rick has talked about, the full-time nurse who's coming in, she'll come in at our next meeting to talk about if you have any specific needs that you would like her to be working on in Townsend. And your next meeting is October 15th at 9:30 a.m.
That's a Friday, right?
It is a Friday, and I will be gone the following week on vacation. I will be back on Tuesday, the 26th. Rick will be in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will have a note out that if there's something important, they can talk to the selectmen. Well, not the selectmen, the town administrator, and then the town administrator will contact the chairman if needed. I will also let people know that if they have any issues with their trash, to contact D.W. Shaw directly.
You'll have it together.
I hope so.
Those two.
Thank you.
So we don't have a second meeting scheduled yet for October? We just have the 15th?
Oh, we don't, because
We were
there was a lot
Battling
of,
heads over everybody's schedule.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think at that point you'll have to, and then it's gonna get into the holiday season, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, Jesus, we go through the summer problems, right, and then we have a month and then it's holiday season.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's awful.
Mhm.
So,
I left the 28th and 29th open, so,
Okay.
of October?
of October.
Well, we're gonna wait till the 15th to determine our next meeting, we might as well, Chris will be here, so
Yeah.
no what's going on with him.
But are you available on the 28th and 29th, Jim? You might wanna just cross that off, because if Gavin is so busy and he's already got that time, I'm gonna put it in my book, Board of Health meeting.
One of those
And
2 days.
hopefully within one of those 2 days, we'll have the next meeting, we'll talk to Chris and see his availability.
I leave those days open in preparation for Halloween.
That's
my
your-
big- that's
that's
my
your
biggest
thing.
holiday,
That's your thing.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, those are penciled in.
excellent, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Before we do that, what's the situation with rats in town and multiple calls? I know you sent an email to me about some concerns with some rats in town increasing.
The email that I sent out, I believe, was an article from the Boston Globe or some media platform that basically outlined, because the cities are controlling their trash more and more, the rats are just coming out from the cities and they're spreading. Rats are always here. The issue that we have to remember is that the rats are here, and if they're here, it's because of an underlying issue. It's not, they're looking for food, and somewhere around there, there's gotta be some source.
Right.
So the Board of Health in Neshoba is proactively, when we get the calls, going to the area and seeing, do you have traps, helping the people, do you have any bird seed that's hanging around? Let's look at your area, and that's where they're approaching it, is case by case.
All
I know they're still here.
right. Oh, yeah, yeah. And so what did you make a comment about that too earlier?
I made a comment about the mindset, the recycling center, to
Okay.
get an exterminator up there and make them gone.
Yeah.
Because we don't need the public going in and jeopardizing their health,
Yeah.
having a rat run around up there.
Another reason why I want those containers out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did they get back to you when they can go there?
Not yet, but I honestly, they got back to me and we were playing telephone tag, and then I just got busy, so thank you for the reminder. I will call them again.
So, and when, this is far-fetched as you wanna get, but when Jose's place got shut down on 13, it was so infested with everything there, and they've been in there working that house and remodeling everything up there. A lot of the critters that were there had to go someplace, and they
Right.
probably still run,
Yeah,
because that was a disgusting mess there, and that was something we couldn't do a thing about,
right,
out of our control.
really. Ugh.
That's why you gotta be careful with farming, because if you don't have 5 acres and with that bylaw, et cetera, we just can't have a lot of undersized farms, especially with neighbors and other stuff, because it's not gonna work.
That's,
It worked good in the 30s, but it's not working good in 2021.
no.
Well, I'll let you know when I have town council hours, and if you wanted to join the conversation, more than happy to.
Yeah, I mean, some things are losing battles, but at least we're making an attempt at it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that, is
Yeah.
that it at least needs to be on our radar,
Yeah, definitely.
so,
Definitely.
so we're talking about it and people know we are aware of it
'Cause
and moving forward with it.
Even at my place, I've seen critters that I haven't seen there before.
I have
since-
too now.
Yeah, so, they gotta go someplace and they gotta run.
And I know a lot of my neighbors have a lot of farm animals, so it aggravates me that,
They've gotta look at their
They're making
feed
their way to me.
containers and,
Right.
and how they're storing their food
right,
is gonna be a big issue.
right, so, okay, cool, that's all I have. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Board of Health meeting at 10:13.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You in favor, Carla?